This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Marquee 360's second webcast in the Power Platform series. We have some great content for you today. We're going to show you Microsoft Flow, which is a no-code solution for automating business processes. Next week, we're going to cover Power BI. All attendees are muted, so if you want to ask a question, please utilize the chat feature on the right-hand side. My name is Mike, and I'm a productivity specialist here at Marquee 360. I also have Jarrell Lugo, who is our solution specialist, and will be demonstrating the solution. After the webinar, I will be sending out a recording of the presentations, so no worries if you get pulled away. Marquee 360 is a Microsoft partner that helps companies with the digital transformation of business applications in as time as possible. At Marquee 360, we aim to help business digital transformation strategy to take advantage of disruption, specialize in services, SharePoint, PowerApps, Microsoft Flow, and Microsoft Teams. This is a high-level view into this solution, but the possibilities are endless. Our experts work with our clients via one-on-one workshops where we can take their processes, whiteboard the solution, and build it together. I will now hand off the webinar to Jarrell Lugo. Jarrell?
Thank you, Mike, for the introduction. As he mentioned, my name is Jarrell Lugo. I'm a solution specialist. Today we're going to go through a few slides, and then I'm going to open up Flow. I'm going to discuss the interface. We're going to build Microsoft Flow, and then I'm going to demonstrate a flow that I've created that's attached to a Power App and a SharePoint list. As you can see here, Microsoft Flow is connected to many different services and applications. In today's world, everything is connected. Our cell phones connected to our smart watch, our smart TVs connected to our home network, our vehicles are connected to GPS. Every piece of technology is communicating with each other. With Microsoft Flow, all your apps and services can be connected and communicate to each other to achieve your business processes and goals. Microsoft Flow is a cloud-based workflow service. It basically eliminates all those manual processes of syncing data, creating and sending emails, attachments, calendar requests, meetings. Microsoft Flow is part of the Office 365 platform. So if you have an Office 365 account, you're able to access Microsoft Flow. And with that, that gives you 750 flows per user per month that you can create and have operational. With Microsoft Flow, there's over 220 connectable services. So basically, you can connect Google Drive to your OneDrive account and have pictures sync. So once family pictures are dropped into your Google Drive account, they can be synced to your OneDrive account just by creating a simple workflow through Microsoft Flow. You can access Microsoft Flow. You can allow the Microsoft Flow to access your cloud data along with your on-premise data as well. So all these apps allow you the ability and give you the power to have them speak to each other to accomplish your business goals and tasks. It's very important, as this basically frees up time from manual processes. It gives you the ability to basically concentrate on what's important, what's in front of you, what you want to accomplish for that day. As I mentioned earlier, you can sync files, you can create a notification, you can collect data. You can also basically send a notification for an approval. So one example, definitely for me, when I started using Microsoft Flow, and I wish I had it back in 2015, I worked for T-Mobile in Hawaii, their engineering and marketing department, as a project coordinator. While I was there, my main duties were to interact with our contractors. Our contractors would come on site basically to manage the 300 plus antenna / cellular sites that we had through the Hawaiian Islands. And when we had our contractors on the footprint, basically every time that they upgraded or did a change or did maintenance to a site, a cellular site, that information had to be basically put into a drawing called a Caesar drawing, basically an as-built of what was changed, what was modified. And so when our contractors submitted those drawings to us, basically it's a deliverable to show us what was accomplished, we would receive those within emails. And you're talking about 300 plus sites. You're talking about 300 plus emails of attachments. If we had Microsoft Flow back then, it would have made the process of uploading that data into a SharePoint library repository a lot easier. I recall the days that I was sitting there after a weekend, we would receive Saturday night and Sunday night all the attachments in the email. Monday morning, I would come in and I would manually be uploading those attachments, and it was very time consuming. It took me away from the projects itself, the time I could have spent basically managing the contractors. Flow would have alleviated all that. So I definitely wish we would have had Flow back then. Flow was released December 2017, so it's here now, and it's a great product for, I would recommend for all businesses to use, to take advantage of. As I mentioned, Flow is part of the Office 365 platform. If you have an Office 365 account, you can access it. You can also utilize any browser to access Flow. Explorer, Edge, Chrome, all of them work, Firefox. There's also over 1,200 templates within Flow, which I'll be touching on that a little bit later in my demo. But it's almost unlimited in the sense of the ideas and what you can construct within Flow. You can also create a flow from scratch, which basically starting your own flow, identifying your business needs, your business requirements, the goals you want to accomplish. So there are many benefits to Flow. You can access Flow on any mobile device, tablet, cell phone, iOS, Android. All you got to do is just sign into the App Store for your device and download it for free. With that, you have the ability to monitor, manage, and create your flows. That's really flexible, and that gives you a lot of ability there, because you don't have to just be on a desktop creating your flow. If you need to edit it, you don't have to just go back to your desktop. You can actually do it from your cell phone. I definitely love that feature, because sometimes there are processes that we have to be on our desktop or our office computer that we can't do. But this is not the case with Microsoft Flow. As mentioned, there are many hundreds of templates out there, professional templates, and they're increasing every month. Microsoft Flow receives usually quarterly updates, and when these updates are sent out, the amount of templates increases. You can imagine basically all the apps and services that it's touching and what people are creating day in and day out. Again, Microsoft Flow is user-friendly. The interface, which I'll be covering a little later in the demo, it's your basic interface that you expect from Microsoft with your tabs and your buttons. It's basically you're selecting and then you're filling in data, drag and drop, which we'll see in a bit. Another good benefit of Microsoft Flow is that there's no coding required. You don't need to know Java or Python or any of those languages. Microsoft Flow eliminates all that. It puts the power in your hands to accomplish and build the workflow that meets your needs. And probably one of the best benefits is that it's free. You can't beat free. So Microsoft Flow is free. And if, like I mentioned, if you have an email, you can sign in and build your free account. There's a lot of capabilities with Microsoft Flow. Buttons. So basically, if you wanted to create a flow within the app, you can create it with a button to initiate an action. So I'll just give you a quick example. Let's say you wanted to set up an emergency staff meeting. You can have that capability within your flow built into your app on your mobile device. All you would have to do is open up the app, click on the button that you want to utilize. That button could be titled Emergency Staff Meeting. Once you hit that button, it'll send a notification to all your employees, and basically it'll identify a conference room that you had preset and a time, and notify them that the staff meeting is taking place within half an hour. Instead of going to your desktop computer, opening Outlook and creating an email, and then punching in everybody's usernames or email addresses, this saves time from all that. Notifications. You create a simple notification that tells you, hey, you have a reminder for an appointment today at 3 o'clock. Once that notification kicks off, it'll send it to your cell phone and your email, notifying you every day at this time, at this location, you have that meeting or that appointment. Notifications can be that simple, and I can demonstrate some of that later when I'm in the demo. Approval requests. Another great capability of Microsoft Flow. If you have a SharePoint list that you're documenting vacation time on, somebody submits a new vacation request, that information can be saved onto a SharePoint list, and then a notification can be sent to that individual's supervisor, notifying them that they've submitted a request for vacation time next Friday. They want the day off. They want to go and watch the newest Marvel action movie. The supervisor will get that notification, and basically they have the ability to approve or deny. Conditions. So basically, conditions allow you to control the workflow to how it performs and basically identify if something's true. So with that, an example would be if you're expecting an email from somebody, and that email, you create a flow to basically notify you if this one individual sent you an email. Let's say your tax documentations. It's tax season, pretty much, we're starting up now. You can create a flow with a condition that you will be notified on your cell phone via text that your tax documentations have been sent to you via email. And the way you would create that flow is basically identifying who it's coming from. That would be a condition. Only if the individual that you identify is sending that email, then that would be the case for you to receive a text. Because you wouldn't want to receive a text from every email that you get. Some of us get over 100 emails a day. With Microsoft Flow, you can be comfortable and rest assured that you're working securely. It's tied into all the Office 365 security framework that's already established within the platform. Another great capability of Microsoft Flow is multi-step flows, which I'll give an example in a later slide of that. Multi-step flows basically have a trigger and multiple actions. So if you wanted to basically trigger an email, and an email would be sent to 5 individuals, basically then they, on that end, their flow would trigger that notification to those individuals, and then if there's attachments in that flow, the attachments could be saved to your SharePoint list. So basically the multi-steps there, the actions, the multi-actions taking place would be notifications to those individuals, and then those attachments being saved within SharePoint to document library. So I mentioned triggers earlier. Every flow has a trigger and an action. You can't have a flow without those. So basically a trigger is an event that starts the flow. It kicks off the flow. It's an occurrence. Triggers can be synced from a service. They can be a button that, as I mentioned earlier, you select the button, click on it, and that's the trigger, and then the action takes place on the other end of the flow. Triggers can be a new email that's coming in, as I mentioned, that can save an attachment to OneDrive, SharePoint List, and a trigger can run on schedule. You can have a trigger set up every Friday at 12 noon. Every Friday at 12 noon, you want to have an updated SharePoint spreadsheet sent out to all your employees. So the trigger would be that information being captured at that time. The action would be for that information to be sent out or emailed to the employees. Actions. An action is a task or a job that's taking place within the workflow. It's what you want to accomplish. It's your goal. There can be hundreds of actions of your choosing. Just a few quick examples are creating a file, an event. You can set up an action to have an event take place, to set up a, like I mentioned earlier, staff meeting or gathering. An action can be an email. An action can be an update to a spreadsheet, modifying or configuring information on a spreadsheet or some kind of analytical document. And an action can send information, as mentioned earlier, to your subordinates or employees. You can have multiple actions, and you can order them as you see fit. When you design these flows, you're going to be keeping in mind what your business is and what you want to accomplish, your goals and tasks. So having multiple actions is based on what your experience is and what you want to accomplish. Ordering those actions is what you want to accomplish first and how you want that preset. So here's a basic example of a multi-step flow. Is a diagram. As you can see, it's kicked off with a tweet sent out from an individual user. We have two areas that the flow is basically taking actions in. On top, the tweet is created, and this is for a company. A company's identifying the tweet, and let's say it's saying some positive things about Microsoft. Hey, we love it. We love your products. We're excited to be using this. Microsoft can send the original user, the original creator of the tweet, a message saying thank you, and with that, asking them if they want to be part of the mailing group. The user can respond to that message and say, yes, I want to be part of the mailing group, and respond here within an email and provide their information. Here's my email, here's my contact. This is what I'm interested in, these type of products. That information on the other end can be basically captured within a spreadsheet. Once captured in a spreadsheet, that information can be sent via email for approval to be posted on a SharePoint list or Salesforce analytical data list or spreadsheets. So basically, these two steps are adding the user who created the tweet, basically capturing information and basically keeping them involved, adding them to a mailing list, and then taking that data and saving that data within online or cloud or premise backend. So you have branching conditions and multi-steps here. And you can add more steps to this if you would like. hundreds of templates. I mean, there's, like I mentioned, they're still being created. People are still building stuff. It's incredible. And here you can see up top, create a new record in Dynamic CRM when a new list item is added. Sync files from a folder in OneDrive to folder on FTP server. OneDrive photos to Google Drive photos, which I mentioned earlier, that for me that would be beneficial because I have a lot of family pictures and photos from family events, especially the holiday season just passing. It'd be great to take some of those that are on OneDrive from my family who's sharing those photos with me and just capture them on Google Drive and have them where I need them to be, because in the sync files from a folder in Dropbox to a folder on SFTP servers, create Azure service bus messages from Office 365 emails. It's just a ton. MailChimp, and like I mentioned, these are just being created and still coming out, still being released. Integrating the services that you're already using. So we've identified many services that are already being used. Each business has their own preference to what they want to utilize for their services, but here's just a few examples of the services: Dropbox, Access, Facebook. You want to stay in contact with your clients. OneDrive, MailChimp, Office 365, Salesforce, Yammer, SQL. The list just keeps growing and growing. As I mentioned, it's 226, I believe, at the moment. The next release for Microsoft Flow should be in March, so I'm expecting that to increase. Scenarios of where you can use Microsoft Flow. Areas of productivity: archiving email attachments to a SharePoint list. We've touched on that. Sales, basically identifying trends in your data and then creating reports from those trends and sending them out to your subordinates or your employees. Operations, basically identifying your operations, identifying what your legacy systems are, and saving that data within cloud storage. Within your IT department, notifying an on-call technician about an incident that took place. And that's a good example of, as I mentioned, you can utilize a flow, create one that would identify that a help desk ticket has been created and then send a notification via text or email to a technician so that they can jump on it and basically remedy that situation. Marketing, social media trends. Who's talking about your company? The Twitter example that I gave earlier is HR, vacation request. That also is very useful when you have that attached to the SharePoint list and you need your manager to approve or disapprove, or you to know what the status is of your vacation time. It basically saves you that time from creating all the manual paperwork and just submitting it, and paperwork gets lost and it's frustrating. I've been there, and I didn't care for that at all. Back in my times in the military, we used leave forms, and a leave form was about 6 pages long because as military members, they want to know where you're going, who you're going to be with, what address you're going to stay at, and the chain of command has to approve that, which is about 4 or 5 individuals. That paper trail it's so easy for it to get lost. Creating a flow for that just takes care of all that, automates the process. So SharePoint integration, we touched on this a little bit earlier. This is an example of a SharePoint list. And as you can see within SharePoint, you have a tab that's called Flow. Once you click on it, it gives you two options: create a flow, or you can see the flows that are already created, that are already associated with that list. There's also a PowerApps button there too, so it's highly integrated with Microsoft products. Here's an example of the interface visual designer that you use when you create a flow. As you can see here at the top, this is what we're creating. When a file is created, an email is sent. So basically we're using Dropbox and we're using Outlook, Office 365. This is your trigger. And what your trigger is when a file is created, and then sending an email is the action. So it's simple drag and drop process, very user friendly, easy to learn, no programming involved, none of that stuff, none of those languages. This is meant to take care of the average business organizational user. Sharing a flow. So good rule of thumb here. Once you create a flow, you can share the flow. You can give another individual within your organization read, access, and write privileges. With that, you can deny them delete privileges, which is very essential because you don't want anybody deleting a flow that you've created to help you with your daily tasks. The reason you should share a flow, though, is, for example, you have a flow that creates an appointment for your employees to meet Friday at 3 o'clock, and then you're on sick leave, you're out of the office, that appointment's going to keep kicking in. Somebody else should be able to go in there. You should have an alternate individual. You as a primary, somebody as an alternate, but should be able to go in there and either turn that off, update it, edit the flow, whatever needs to be done, configure it, add more people to receive that email, that notification. So basically, it's just continuity purposes. It's very important. Power Platform for business. So basically, the Power Platform includes Power BI, PowerApps, and Microsoft Flow. They're giving you the power to create and automate your business processes. If you want to develop basically a power process, a business model that has a little more complexity to it, you can leverage developers to extend that complexity to give you that expertise to accomplish the goals and tasks that you want to accomplish. Developers such as us here at Marquee 360, we can get you to the point where you want to go, help you develop and establish your business process. That also includes connecting to different forms of data, the common data service, connectors, gateways, on-prem, back-end information. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to start my demo within Microsoft Flow. Exit the slides. So as you can see here, I'm at Office 365. I'm logged in. If I want to find Flow, I'd go to my apps. And here's Microsoft Flow. It's got a nice little blue icon. Easy to tell it apart from the other applications that are available. So this is my Flow basic homepage that you see here. As you can see, these are the flows that I've created as of late. Quite a few. Some that are integrated with PowerApps, some that are integrated with SharePoint, Power BI. On the left pane, you have Home, which I'll click on that. So here at Home, you have a search bar, and you can search for any type of flow you want to create. Salesforce. Once you hit search, it'll bring up everything, every template that's associated with Salesforce. And you can see there's quite a few here. And that list is going to keep growing and growing. Under that, underneath the search bar, you have basic tabs that if you wanted to create a button flow, it brings you up to an area where templates are for button flows. It's just more and more, keeps going. Featured, approvals, data collection, emails, which will deal with Outlook and Office 365. A flow you can create for events and calendar. Flows that are connected to your mobile device. Notifications, productivity. See what's in there. Record form responses in SharePoint. Quickly email a note to yourself. Send a customized email when a new SharePoint list is added. So, like I said, there's tons of templates there. Here you have connectors. All the services, 226. And then data, which would take you to any kind of entities, connections, and custom connectors, gateways for more complex flows that you want to create. And there's a learning center as well. So basically, if I was new to Flow, you select what you want to learn, what level you are, and then basically the criteria. And it'll help you basically understand how Flow works, how to create one, and get you to your business goals and needs. So I'm going to create a flow. I'm going to go to templates. And I want to create a flow that basically, when I receive an email with an attachment, it's going to be saved to my OneDrive. So I'm going to type OneDrive. So just a good note here. You see this template says save outlook.com email attachments to your OneDrive. And this one says save email attachments from outlook.com to OneDrive for business. As you can see there, it's for business. So there is a difference between a OneDrive account and a OneDrive for business account. I'm going to select my OneDrive for business. The next screen basically shows you what you want to accomplish. Talks about the template, what you selected. Below, you'll see that because this is tied into my Office 365 account, I'm already logged into Outlook and I'm already logged into OneDrive for Business. There's my email, my username, login. So now I'm going to select Create Flow. That's it. The flow has been saved for your My Flow list. So it's already created. It's already saved. It's there. It's a template. So, but let's go a little deeper. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to click Edit. So as I showed you in the slide earlier, here's your basic interface for Flow. This is a flow here. Here's my trigger, new email. It's associated with my inbox. So once a new email hits my inbox, that'll pull the trigger for this flow. And then I can click on the folder and see other folders that are associated with my Outlook. And you can keep going to subfolders if there were subfolders. show advanced options. So basically, if I wanted to create more conditioning formatting in a sense, basically to or from, or the importance of the email coming in, I could basically edit the flow and have it only pull emails that are high importance. Anything that would be high importance would save the attachment to OneDrive. You can basically control those parameters to your liking. The next part is the action. So basically here is it creating a file within OneDrive. So email attachments, that's already set up for me from the template. File name would be the attachment name, and file content would be what the attachment is. And these are all dynamic fields that are tied into Flow. I'm going to hit save, and as you can see, there's two areas for save, up here and then right under the flow. Here's your flow checker. It tells you there's errors or warnings or anything going on with it, anything wrong that you need to be concerned about, which we don't have anything like that. And then there's a test button, which would run a test if we already execute the flow from previous usage of the flow. So have that saved there. Let's test this out. I'm going to go to my Outlook. New item. I'm going to send myself an email. And I'm going to put an attachment in there. I'm going to hit send. So it's probably going to take about 30 seconds to propagate, get all the information transferred and all, but very useful. Email should be popping up in here any second now. I'm going to go back to Flow. If I wanted to add another action and make this a multi-step flow, I would select add an action, and basically that would open up another similar window to what we have here. So the email went through. As you can see, there it is. We're good to go on that, but the purpose of this flow is to make sure that the attachment was saved to my OneDrive. So let's go back to let's go to Office 365. OneDrive. See if it's in there. Should be in here. Not yet. Let me so it's still taking time to propagate, but so it should be in email attachments. Oh, there you go. A few seconds ago, just came in. Let's click on it. Email attachments, and that's the file that I basically attached to my email. What is Microsoft Flow? So it just came in less than a minute ago, a few seconds actually. So that flow was operational. We have no issues with it. Go back here. It's saved. As I mentioned, I can add another step. I can also rename these, my trigger and my action, by clicking the ellipses and hitting rename. There you go. So pretty straightforward. Also, if I wanted to build, I'm going to show you a demo of a flow that I've already created. I'm going to go into PowerApps. Go to My Apps. I'm going to open up my Help Desk app. So as you can see, this is my Help Desk app. This is tied into a SharePoint list. I'm going to click on that SharePoint list, here's the SharePoint list. I'm going to go back to my flows, and I'm going to open up this flow that I've already created. This is just a quick demo of what I've already put together. Here's the flow from my help desk app. So you can see it. Here we have numerous areas that are communicating services. I'm going to hit edit. And I'm just going to pull the trigger and execute this flow. So we're going to create a new ticket. I'm going to call this ticket LAN cable issue. Make the priority high, replace LAN cable. And create. So once this is created, the flow is already established to have this saved into my SharePoint. As you can see, PowerApp, here's the trigger, and then the action is get items. So my SharePoint list will populate with the ticket I just created. And then it's going to send me an email notifying me that there is a ticket in the system. So here's multiple steps and multiple actions. So let's go back to the PowerApp and execute, create. Ticket submitted. Let's go back to our SharePoint, make sure that that worked. There's the ticket populated with my SharePoint list. Now the other part would be getting the email for this two-step flow, which hasn't come in yet. And like I mentioned earlier, you can continue to add actions. Let's see if that email has come in yet. Not yet. Let me delete this one. Oh, there you go. Just arrived. New ticket. New ticket was submitted by Jarrell Lugo, which is me. Replace LAN cable. And it also arrived with a link. So these are dynamic fields which are incorporated within the flow. I'll show you those right now. Here are the dynamic fields I was just speaking about. So if I wanted to add another dynamic field, I would click within this space and then select what fields I wanted to add to the email that would be auto-generated and sent to me. And like I mentioned, all these dynamic fields are communicating because all of these services and applications are communicating and they're being pulled from each other. So that's the end of my demo. And I head back to the slideshow. So Microsoft Flow is available today. You can go to flow.microsoft.com, sign up and create yourself a free account. How to get Flow, I just mentioned that. There's a free account there, sign up. All you need is an email address. You'll get 750 flows per month. If you need more than 700 flows, and this is per user per month, you can sign up for an Office 365 or Dynamics 365 account, which will allow you 2,000 flows per month. It also gives you access to on-premise connectivity. And then if you want to go above and beyond that, if you have a larger organization, you can select from Flow Plan 1, which is 4,500 flows per month per user, and Flow Plan 2, which is 15,000 flows per month per user. And both of them come with the on-premise cloud connectivity services. We here at Marquee 360 provide a 1-day, a 3-day, and a 5-day workshop. Basically, each workshop is going to go into documenting your process, reviewing the process, whiteboard sessions, and creating flows from simple to complex flows themselves. Definitely, it's good stuff. We love having these guys take advantage of this, and we're here to serve you. So at the
Actually,
end of my
Jarrell,
portion of my presentation, Microsoft Flow speaks.
Jarrell, do you have I saw a couple of.
Yes, sir.
I saw a couple of questions come through. So I saw one question.
Yes,
one user said that this seems really powerful, but who within the organization can create a flow, and do they have to be an admin?
No, you do not have to be an admin. All you have to do is have an account. You can have the free account, you can have the Office 365 account, or you can have a Plan 1 or Plan 2 account. Now, you can designate admins to control your flows. That can be a feature within your Office 365 admin center that you can basically activate and have a certain individual selected to control them, but anybody can create a flow. Are there any more questions?
Great. We have another question from Jason. He asks, from new SharePoints using Flow, or would it be restricted to your own SharePoint 365?
Can you repeat that question? It was breaking up.
Sorry. Can you collaborate with other client SharePoints using Flow, or would it be restricted to your own SharePoint 365 tenant?
Yes, if you have Flow, Flow is restricted to your organizational 365/SharePoint platform organization. You cannot basically integrate that or connect to other organizations' SharePoints. Everything is in a sense is internal to your org.
Okay. One last question is, can you schedule these flows to recur, maybe on a weekly or a monthly basis?
Yes, with multi-step flows, you can schedule them to occur weekly, daily, or monthly, whatever your preference is. Okay,
great. Awesome. Let's see. I don't see any other chat. I don't see any other questions, but I want to thank everybody for attending. Any additional questions, reach out to either me or Jarrell directly. And also, if you would like a personal demo of the solution, you can reach out to me at mike@marquee360.com or Jarrell@marquee360.com. We thank everybody for your interest, and we look forward to seeing you next week.